This morning I was reflecting on the story of the prodigal son. This young man who demanded his inheritance from his father and then went out and squandered it. And he ends up in this really desperate situation. He's got no money left, he's starving, and he thinks to himself, you know what, I'm going to go home and see if my dad will take me back just as a servant, because even the servants are living better than this. So he returns home and says, look, Dad, I'm not worthy to be your son. Please, would you take me back as a servant? The father wraps his arms around him, puts a robe on him, puts the family signet ring on his finger, and restores him to sonship. He says, you are my son. You were dead, but now you're alive. You were lost, and now you are found. And he throws this huge feast to celebrate the return of his son. You know, I wonder how often when we come to God and we ask God to save us from our sin, from ourselves, from our desperate situation, how often do we think, you know what, I'm not worthy to be a son, but I'm good with just being a servant. I'll just serve God. And we're missing out on this amazing relationship that he invites us into, one of sonship. It was, of course, the older brother who was out serving in the field, and he came in and he said, what is all this commotion? What's going on here? You know, I've served you my whole life, Dad. How come I don't get to, enjoy this? Don't I deserve it too? That there is the mentality of a servant. He saw himself as a servant. And the father says to him, son, you're my son, and all that I have is yours. As in, don't you realize because you're my son, this was all available to you the whole time? You just never asked for it. And again, I wonder how often do we just see ourselves as servants to God, and we actually miss out on the most amazing intimate relationship with him and the inheritance of being a son and a daughter of God. It says here in the book of Galatians, and so that we would know for sure that we are his true children, God released the spirit of sonship into our hearts, moving us to cry out intimately, my Father, you're our true Father. Now we're no longer living like slaves under the law. We're no longer servants. But we enjoy being God's very own sons and daughters. And because we're his, we can access everything our Father has. For we are heirs of God through Jesus the Messiah. So Paul's saying, hey, because of Jesus, because of what he's done, we can now step into a relationship with God, one of intimacy, one of being a son and a daughter of God, and we can step into an inheritance that comes with that because of Jesus. It was, of course, Jesus who said that the greatest is a servant. He said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. And this isn't contradictory because he's talking about the way we live our life, that we are to live a life that is laid down for others, serving those around us. Remember, it was Jesus himself who said to his disciples, I don't call you servants, I call you friends. He talks about the reason for that is because he is in intimate relationship with God, and they are now in an intimate relationship with him, and so they are friends of God. So I want to encourage you today, take some time, spend with Holy Spirit and say, Lord, what's my relationship with you like? Do I see myself as a servant or really as a son? Reveal to me, what does it look like to be a son, to be a daughter of God, and all that entails? What is my inheritance in you? I encourage you, spend some time today. It'll bless your life.